Give us your day two response to Carolina's 28-14 loss at the hands of the Tigers on Saturday.
Yeah, I was at the game. It was Clemson played a good football game. They kind of executed better than us, and they were able to run the ball. I mean, it was cold, it was windy. What it came down to is a team that was able to run the ball better won the game. We scored on two big shots, two big chunk plays. But other than that, like we just weren't able to sustain drives and really just ground and pound. And Cade Klubnik played a pretty clean game. When he fumbled and picked up his fumble in reverse field and scored a touchdown, I was like, "There's no freaking way." Yeah, just the ball, like kind of all season, the ball didn't really bounce our way. And that was just kind of like a true summary of our season. We were in the game just like we have been in just about every single game, just weren't able to make the plays when we needed to most.
35 points this year scored in the fourth quarter in 12 games. 14 of those 35 were in game one, which means they scored 3 total touchdowns in the final 11 games in the fourth quarter. What would you attribute that to?
I mean, I think a lot of it's discipline, right? I mean, this is a team that was very highly penalized early in the season. And then kind of as games progressed, just kind of not that they gassed out and weren't able to play from a sustainability standpoint, but just let their foot off the pedal a little bit. And that is a bizarre stat. We only scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter of the last 11 games. Yeah, that kind of when you put it that way, that's a good reason why we ended up 4-8.
Well, does it get? I mean, Coach Beamer has mentioned multiple times, "Hey, look, we don't think that we're as far away as a lot of you think we are." When you hear a stat like that, how quickly can you get it turned around? I mean, they were in all those games. He's right. Yeah. He's not wrong about that. They were in all the games. They just couldn't score and couldn't win any of them.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that it's a talented team. Like we have playmakers on the field, offensively, defensively. I mean, we were one of the top forcing turnover. Did we force the most turnovers in the SEC this year? Most takeaways?
I haven't checked yet, but they were in the top 2 or 3. Yeah,
it's in the. I know Texas is up there too, but definitely up there, Pat. To your point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to take the ball away from teams at the rate that we were able to, and not turn those into points, like that's just it kind of deflates the team, right? Defense makes a huge play and the offense stalls, and the defense is like, well crap. So really just taking those, like if the ball didn't bounce our way that much this season, is when it does bounce our way, you really have to take full advantage. And if we weren't able to score defensively or on special teams in the fourth quarter, we weren't able to do that offensively. So that makes it hard.
Last year when Carolina won 9 games, a lot of what we had to say was that this team had the personality of their head football coach, Shane Beamer. They never quit. Yep. They just kept fighting and kept fighting. Well, they're 4-8 this year. How would you differentiate the two?
Well, I mean, last year we absolutely cleaned up in the portal, right? I mean, a lot of those guys were guys that had a lot of experience, played a lot of football, ended up being drafted pretty high in the NFL. Which that attributes that helps with probably 4 or 5 wins in and of itself. But I think a huge part is like there were more leaders on that team, like TJ Sanders, Kyle Kennard, D Knight, Rocket Sanders. Like they were older guys that had been there, done that, had cut their teeth, and Kyle Kennard and those guys, like they didn't win a bunch of games at Georgia Tech, but they won some. But we were able to learn how to be a pro, and we played a lot of young guys this year, which is good and bad, right? Like, got a lot of young guys that got some really good experience, and time under tension, like, kind of ends up creating the better athlete. Like, I was better my sophomore year because I played a decent amount as a freshman, and better as a junior because I played my sophomore year. So, like, as long as you continue to, stack seasons, stack days, and really continue to buy into the program and buy into the off season and buy into spring ball and buy into summer workouts, like 4-8 is, it's not an acceptable conclusion to have in a season. And I know everybody in that building is sick to their stomach about it, but you can sit there and you can mope about it, or you could, make changes as you think you need to make changes. You can elevate the off-season program, elevate winter workouts, elevate spring ball, elevate summer workouts so that you don't have this taste in your mouth again. And honestly, you need to bring some difference makers in, whether that's portal guys, recruiting guys. But like, I mean, we have some really good football players. Like Dylan Stewart's one of the best edge rushers in college football. He'll be a first-round pick in the NFL whenever he decides to go. Lenore Sellers is an elite talent. If he can figure it all out, he's going to be a first-round pick of a quarterback. I wouldn't say either of those guys is an exceptional leader in that team and motivating guys and grabbing somebody by the face mask and telling them, hey, it's time to be accountable. It's time for us to knuckle up and make some big plays. Like, you need guys that are willing to not be the cool guy. You need guys that are willing to be the asshole to really push the movement forward. And I know like D Knight and Kyle Kennard, like Rocket Sanders, those guys were guys that did that. I'm not sure if we had those guys on this team this year.
How important is it to move quickly in getting an offensive coordinator in place?
Well, Wednesday is that high school National Signing Day?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be probably good
for what it's worth. I think they're safe with all those guys right now, Pat. Just a heads up on that. I think they're in a good spot with all those guys.
All right. Well, I mean, I think the sooner you can do it, the better to wrap up guys that are on your roster currently that don't want to jump ship and jump in the portal, and then also start the portal recruiting. I think that's going to be is going to be instrumental in our success next year, is being able to get some vetted guys that have been there, done that, kind of have earned their stripes and can help kind of turn the program around. Not that it's in a terrible place. It's one bad season, but you do need some dogs to come in and we have a lot of young talent, but that young talented group needs guidance, needs to learn how to be a pro. I mean, I talk about this with Josh Allen a lot, but Josh Allen made his huge turnaround when Derek Anderson, who was a 16-year vet, played at Oregon State, played Carolina, played everywhere. But when Derek Anderson came and mentored him for a year, that's when Josh made his huge strides. And that's by having a guy who had earned his respect and all that stuff that came in that was really able to get home to Josh. So we need to really hit home in the portal to, I think, help develop this young talent of a roster that we have.
What is an offensive system that you think fits best in Columbia, South Carolina?
I think I think we saw a little bit of the success these last couple of games, spreading the field, attacking the perimeter, taking shots. Obviously, we abandoned the run pretty quick against Clemson. We only had 14 rushes or 8 rushes, or it was a number that tells you you're going to lose a football game if you only run the ball that many times. But I think it's a mix of, games are won in the trenches, up front, offensive line or defensive line. That's where you're going to win your games. But if you're able to be efficient there in between the tackles, but then also attack the perimeter with RPOs and with screen games, and then when you have a Nick Harbor type guy that you can just throw the ball over everybody's heads, like, it makes you multi-dimensional and just puts a defense kind of in flux. Like, what do? Do I stack the box? Do I widen my corners out? My linebackers playing soft? So just making a team really defend the entire field, which we did the last few games, but it was, day late, dollar short.
Yeah, you mentioned Nick. Mike and I were talking about Nick just a little while ago. I mean, when he gets downfield, he's virtually uncoverable, Pat, as you know. What type of prospect does that make him in the minds of NFL GMs and owners and scouts?
His ball skills are getting there. I mean, obviously his ball skills struggled the first 2 years, but his ball skills are getting there to a standpoint. But I think there's still going to be you look at a Megatron guy like him, but Megatron could catch a bubble screen, make two guys miss, and go score. Which you haven't really seen Nick be crazy elusive. You've seen the straight line, and you've seen the take the top off type plays, but I think you still need to see more. He still needs more development from a route running standpoint, being able to separate on the short intermediate routes instead of just catching a deep ball or catching a spot route and then just turning and taking off.
Yeah. All right. We'll get you out of here. But, this isn't really a question for the fans because everybody's very frustrated right now. So they don't want to hear things like this. But I'm just curious, with what you would be willing to say, if you were to sit down with Shane, who Shane, but
Yep.
I know you're not going to be sitting down with him very soon. He's quite busy right now. But if you were to sit down with Shane and try to find a way to turn everything that just happened from the negative that it is into a positive in order to get this program back to where it was just a year ago.
Yeah.
What would some things be that you would bring up in that conversation?
I think a lot of it will I agree with him that we're not that far off. Like you were in almost every single game that you lost. Of the 8 games that we lost, we were in it in the fourth quarter in 7 of them. So I think it is like we need to get that desire, that grit, that tenacity. Like I think that's winter workouts, that's spring ball, that's summer workouts. I think that's the edge that you really need to tackle. And then obviously those having leaders in the locker room that are willing to push the young guys and make the young guys elevate is going to be the difference maker. So I think it's like the culture is there. Obviously the recruiting is there. The talent for the most part is there. So it's more just about really taking a deep dive into how can we become the toughest, most bulletproof team we possibly can over the next 8-9 months that's going to put us in 2026 in a situation that going in a season, we are extremely, extremely confident that we can go contend for, an SEC championship game, a chance to get kind of in the college football playoff. Because I think we were so close last year, that's kind of the standard. So winning 6 or 7 games, I don't think is what I think we would have taken that this year, given that we won 4 and 8, but I don't think it's what Carolina fans are looking for. With NIL and the stadium renovations and all these different things that are going on. And, I would imagine price of tickets and everything is going to go up. So I think the standard is going to continue to elevate. And I think that's something that needs to be done. You got to win more football games. And I think you do that by making this offseason like a living hell for the players and making it as hard as they possibly can. That way, come season next year, that there's no doubt in your mind that you've done everything possible to get yourself ready for 26.
They'll be having, I don't know about exit meetings, but end of year meetings all week long. We'll see what comes from that. How many guys end up
recruiting meetings, recruit our own guys and find more money and all that stuff, whatever that world is like nowadays.
Oh my God, man. That is the last thing I'd want to be doing right now. Literally.
I would have negotiated a little bit. I would have asked for $49 instead of $43 for my weekend money. I think I probably would have gotten the $6 extra a weekend, $24 a month. I think I probably would have won that negotiation.
Well, back then they'd get you a meal. I'd get you a whole extra one more meal.
I know.
Now, these guys go eat at Halls every week. That didn't get you a steak. So
yeah, now you got to make $200,000+ to even want to play football. It's weird.